Hey, good morning, guys. It is Monday, May 4th. Hope you guys are well. We're here continuing on Unit 10 about the kelp forest. And it really kind of pains me to say that we won't be doing this project here in class because last year we had a fantastic time doing this project, a really successful project with my students. It was a highly collaborative project in which we learned a little bit about kelp forest ecology. Obviously, it's a really well-known ecosystem that is as local right here to Southern California and all the way up the coast, up into Alaska. So, thinking about that, we had my students, and you guys will be doing something along the same lines, is that they developed a seaweed farm in their groups. And so, seaweed farming is this practice that's becoming more and more common because it's incredibly sustainable. It doesn't need really any inputs. It doesn't need any water, any fertilizer. It doesn't need any land. And it absorbs an insane amount of carbon dioxide. It produces food. It produces a vegetable and a protein source, and it's really cheap to do. So it is gaining traction in the agricultural industry. It's just kind of a matter of are humans or are some cultures ready to accept the fact that seaweed can be an incredibly valuable food source. Some people don't like seaweed, and that's kind of the hindrance of that. But we're going to do our best here in with distance learning and doing this project. So we're going to start off with just some basic exploration here. So your assignment for the week, as always, do the weekly check-in, please. So we have 5 questions here, and 4 of them are new. So make sure you review those carefully. I really do enjoy reading those, and as long as you get those submitted and answered by the end of the school day, I will have a response for you. Otherwise, I'll get back to you the next day. So, all right, your assignment for the week. If we go down here, seaweed farm exploration. So before we actually do our project, you're going to start that next week. We're just going to do a little bit of exploration and kind of understand what seaweed farms are, why they're important, and how sustainable they actually can be. So looking at this, in preparation for next week's seaweed farm project, you're going to explore the following links in high detail. Most of them, so you can see those links here, most of them are going to link to a seaweed farming company, most of which are located in California. Okay, so we have Green Wave all the way through Sunken Seaweed. The only one that's not in California is Green Wave. They were started in Connecticut, but they actually have moved some offices here to California and also up in the Pacific Northwest and Alaska. Monterey Bay, Blue Evolution, Salt Point, Sunken Seaweed, those are all in California and various places in the state. So as you peruse each web page, make sure you look at all the sub pages, right? Go to the About Us and go to their program and go to, you'll see some recipes on some of the websites. Just explore every little sub page that you can. There are some videos embedded into the website, so explore some of those. There's some articles that are linked. Please explore some of those articles. I don't expect you to watch every video or read every article or look at every subpage. Okay, I just want you to kind of choose what you find the most interesting and kind of what stands out to you. As you explore, please take notes. And then what you're actually going to submit is a 1/2 page write-up, please in paragraph format, that answers the questions below. So please summarize some of the information that you learned. Go back and refer to your notes that you took to help you with that. What about seaweed farming was most interesting to you? Which of the companies did you find the most appealing and why? And then finally, what are your general thoughts towards increasing the use of seaweed as a human resource? Okay, do you think it's a good idea because of its sustainability practices, or do you think it's a bad idea because of maybe you don't like the taste, or maybe you don't think it'll gain traction in certain cultures, or what do you think it is? Okay, so let's take a look at some of these websites here just to kind of show you what they look like. Let's start with Green Wave. Let me go to their homepage first. So Green Wave, they are kind of the pioneers, the purveyors, and the most well-known seaweed farm company in kind of this industry here. And Bren Smith is the guy who kind of started this. This is a nonprofit organization. You can see they've been highlighted in Time, 60 Minutes, New Yorker, CNN, Huffington Post. You can see there's a video here. Talks about their system. It's called regenerative ocean farming. So this is hope you guys watch this one. It's the very first video you should watch to kind of explain how this process works. I'm going to explain it to you as well. So if we go, to About Us, you can read a little bit about the bios of the people who work there. Not too important for this assignment. Program, though, that's going to be crucial for understanding how this works. So you can see some videos here already embedded. There's 2 right there. Feel free to watch those. But let's kind of talk about how the system works. So you can see it's a very simple model. We have seaweed, okay, and you can have various species of seaweed depending on what you're trying to cultivate. Scallops, mussels, oysters, and clams. So you also have a bunch of shellfish as well. Now the purpose of having both is, well, number one, the shellfish are filter feeders. So they take in water that's flowing towards them. So you can imagine if there's water flowing from left to right here, water's coming and it's being filtered, it's being cleaned by the shellfish. As it's being cleaned, then as that cleaner water exits, it's being released, the seaweed then can take in that cleaner water. So it's this nice kind of system that all works together. Okay, so not only are you getting that protein source that you're harvesting in the shellfish, but you're also getting seaweed that has been taking in clean water because of that shellfish. So some other benefits: you have very high yields of shellfish and seaweed. You have very small footprint. You don't need a lot of resources at all. Very little carbon that's released into the atmosphere with this practice. It's very replicable. Low barrier to entry. You need 20 acres, a boat, and about $20,000 to $50,000. Okay. In the grand scheme of things, that is not that much to get a business started. Okay. And you think about why it's regenerative. It's a natural carbon and nitrogen sink. So carbon and nitrogen is naturally going to be absorbed by this system. That is a really good thing. Nitrogen is going to help the seaweed thrive, and carbon, we don't want carbon in the atmosphere. Okay, we want to pull that carbon in the form of CO2 from the atmosphere, and the seaweed does that. There's no inputs. Okay, you think about farming on terrestrial land, right? So my vegetable garden right here, right? I have fertilizers that I put in it. I have to use my hose, and I water the gardens. That's another input. I've had to build the raised bed. I've had to add the soil, add the mulch, all that stuff. With this, you don't have to do anything. Okay, there's no fresh water. All the water is already here. The water, it's in an aquatic ecosystem. It doesn't need any fertilizers, and it doesn't need any feed. So it's a natural balanced system that works all on its own. It's pretty remarkable. It helps with storm surge protection. So you can imagine if there's a storm coming through, there's maybe big waves, stronger currents. This whole system kind of acts as a giant wall to help kind of mitigate those effects as you get closer to shore. And it helps rebuild marine ecosystems. So really, it's a good term that they used, regenerative ocean farming. I like that. And so you can see here, key reads, there's all kinds of stuff. Talks about job creation, talks about how it helps with carbon in the atmosphere, helps fight climate change, this idea of poly versus monoculture, building bridges between land and sea. So what are the other uses of seaweed besides food for us? And then plastic alternatives. So you get all kinds of benefits from seaweed farming. So take a look at those. The program, that's a really good website to start with. If you go to, I believe there's a little section with some more videos. Our Approach, I believe, maybe has that. So Our Approach talks about kind of what they do, how they do it. They have some training programs. If you want to become a farmer, who knows, maybe this is something you're interested in. You can put in your information here and send that off. They do actually look for people, for interns, particularly of people who are kind of fresh out of high school or fresh out of college looking for something to do. So maybe that's something you're interested in. Okay, so that's GreenWave. Monterey-based seaweed. Here's another one. This is more of a company that kind of tailors to high-end restaurants. Blue Evolution is another one. Salt Point Seaweed is another one. So explore all of these different companies. Sunken Seaweed is one here local to San Diego. The founder of this company, his name is Tori. He came in and did a guest talk and took a look at the seaweed farms of my students from last year. And then there's a couple articles here that are linked. So vertical ocean farms that can feed us and help our seas, as well as how seaweed can become very profitable because it's this growing industry. So explore all those websites, read the articles, watch the videos that are in there that are embedded, and write that half-page write-up, and that will kind of prep you for the project launch for next week. I believe that's all I wanted to share for now. So if you have any questions, of course, reach out, do that weekly check-in before you start any of this, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Look out for any other updates. I think I'll have another video update here within the next 24 hours as well. So I appreciate it, guys. Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.